it's okay if you're showing up to your first day at Texas A&M, moving into your dorm or moving into your apartment, and you know no one, and you're maybe you're a little scared because this is your first time away from home and you're really doing it on your own. But A&M is a really big community, and it's a really big place where people will take care of you. People will be your friend. You just have to kind of really embrace A&M and everything A&M is about, and do the silly yells and go to the football games and do all the things that make A&M A&M, and A&M will welcome you and you'll have a great time here.
Howdy, Ags, and welcome back to On Air with Student Affairs, the podcast dedicated to show you all the ways you can get involved and create your Aggie experience. I'm your host, Morgan Miles, and I am the loudest and the proudest member of the Fighting Texas Aggie class of 2026.
Hey! Woo!
Oh, wait, that was so cool. And today, I'm here with the Aggie Orientation Leaders. How are y'all?
Good.
We're good.
Good. I'm so glad to have y'all on. So if you don't mind, we'll go around and I'll have y'all introduce yourselves and share your role and just a fun fact. Tell me a fun fact.
All right. Howdy, Ags. My name is Kelly Stringham. I am a biochemistry major from Katy, Texas. But most importantly, I am the loudest and the proudest member of the Fighting Texas Aggie class of 2027. Hey! A fun fact about me is I am obsessed with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
Howdy, my name is Matthew Bender. I am a junior aerospace engineering major from Bettendorf, Iowa. But most importantly, I am the loudest and the proudest member of the Fighting Texas Aggie class of 2026.
Hey! Whoop!
Fun fact about me, I'm a huge runner. So I am always running around campus. I have been probably almost everywhere on campus, just trying to make different routes that work to hit my mileage for running.
Howdy, Ags. I'm Ashlyn Brown. I am a junior elementary education major from Houston, Texas. But more importantly, I am the loudest and the proudest member of the Fighting Texas Aggie class of 2026.
Hey!
Woo! Fun fact about me is that I am a third generation Aggie. So this is I bleed maroon.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever whooped as many times in my life as I have in the past 2 minutes.
We love.
It was so fun. I love it whenever majority of people are in the same class as me, because a lot of times I'm the only one and it's a lot of seniors.
Oh, yeah.
And so I'm whooping by myself, but that was so fun. That was
We'll
so
whoop with
unexpected.
you anytime.
Yes. Okay, so tell us a little bit about what the Aggie Orientation Leaders do and what that role looks like.
The Aggie Orientation Leaders are the first faces that students see when they arrive at Texas A&M for their new student conferences. We just do a lot of the upfront aspect of that. So we check students in. We are floating around during your NSC, and we're just there. we're the knowers of all information for new student conferences.
We also help run the student experience panel. That's our main thing that we do. And this year, we've also added a breakout session where Aggies will be able to just hang out, talk, and get to know each other.
Yeah, I would say a huge part of our role as Aggie Orientation Leaders is to kind of be ambassadors of the student experience at Texas A&M, because there's a lot of staff and people that work in A&M and know a lot about A&M, but we are actually current college students, so we're here every day taking classes. We're going to the same dining halls that new students will be going to. And so it's a really great opportunity for them to be able to ask us questions and learn about college from someone who's actually doing it.
I love the word ambassadors. That was a great one.
Yeah, that's great. So obviously by this point, we've all been to our NSCs. We've all experienced it. So tell us a little bit about what the NSC is for someone who's maybe coming into A&M that's watching this and is like, I have to go to one. What the heck is it? Because I know for me, like you said, you're a third generation Aggie. I'm a first generation Aggie. So coming in, I was literally so overwhelmed whenever I got to my NSC because I was like, what is happening? Like, why are all these people whooping? And like, what is going on? So kind of, can you give us a breakdown of what the NSC is going to look like?
Yeah. So the NSC really, day one is all about A&M information. So we give you a bunch of resources and just information that you're going to need as an A&M student. And then day two of your NSC is going to be strictly about your academic college and registering for classes.
I will say I had a very similar experience to you. Being from Iowa, I visited A&M once for a day just to see what it was like and what everything was about. So like a lot of new students, my real first time like experiencing Texas A&M was my new student conference. So I will say it can feel a little overwhelming at first if you're new, but kind of one of the exciting things about being at Texas A&M specifically is that we spend a lot of time going through in the new student conference and really explaining what Texas A&M means and what it means to be an Aggie. So the first part of that first day is spent with the L leaders and some professional staff just learning about what are Texas A&M's values, what do we do here at Texas A&M that people don't do everywhere else, and kind of getting to enjoy that Aggie experience before you get down to it, learning about all of the kind of more college stuff about Texas A&M.
Right. So I do want to ask, you're from Iowa.
Yes.
I don't think I've ever met anybody from Iowa, but I'm curious as to why you chose A&M.
I had the chance to visit A&M for a couple of days before my senior year of high school. I got an email one day in my inbox and said, hey, like you should really come down and visit. You know, we'd love to have you. And so I was able to come down and tour the campus and talk to, I think I went on like the standard campus tour. And then I also was able to visit the College of Engineering and kind of learn more. I had like a specific out-of-state student experience. So I was very interested, number one, in I'm an aerospace engineering student, and Texas A&M engineering is very well known and very good. But also just the way that Texas A&M feels different than any other college I visited. I feel like it's kind of cliche for people who know A&M, but as someone who comes from outside of that, it's really a school that stands for something, and, you know, each entrance on the MSC is labeled after a core value. And there's just a lot of things about A&M that really struck me with like the aspect of community and what it means to be an Aggie being more than just a degree.
Yeah, no, I would agree. I mean, I'm not from Iowa, but my first time coming to A&M was my NSC too. And just being here and being able to experience different things that I have, it really gave me a respect for A&M that I don't think I would have been able to have for any other school. Like A&M is just so different, kind of like you said. Like there's something really different about it. And once you're in it, like literally like what it says whenever you're walking to Cowfield on like the little underpass kind of, it's like, it's a spirit that can never be told. Like you can't explain it. You literally can't explain it.
Yeah.
And so I think that is really special, but that's really cool.
Yeah.
I'm really glad you shared that. So more back on the NSC side, what are some things that students can look forward to from their experience at NSC? Like, what are some cool things that you think students should look forward to?
I may be a little biased in this, but I really enjoy how we do the student experience panel, where we have live panelists up there and students actually being able to ask questions live. And so they get to hear their answers from panelists, from, like Matthew was saying, real-time A&M college students.
Ooh.
And so that's, I think that's my personal favorite part of the NSC.
Yeah, it definitely gives them that like real perspective. Because like you can talk to a staff member, you can talk to professors, but they're all going to kind of just give you a response that maybe you don't 100% believe because they're not in your shoes. Whereas we are all current students at A&M, and so we've been in your shoes and are currently in your shoes, and so it's just that like real perspective that I really enjoy.
Yeah.
I would say my favorite part of the NSC was doing the yells. I think
That's
it's
a good
so
one.
much fun to be in there. It's like 9:15 in the morning or something, and everyone's in there with their parents. And then the yell leaders come out and they're like, you all have to stand up. We're doing it right now. And so I think that's super fun for, like, as someone who wasn't from here to see everyone doing it. And all the parents are kind of hesitant sometimes.
Yeah.
But it's a really cool way to show like how excited you are to be at A&M, and also just to really get it going and start off the day with something fun and exciting.
Yeah. I remember whenever we did the yell practice, I had never heard of a yell practice. I didn't know that was something A&M did. So they were like, howdy. And they came in and they were screaming. I was like, hello? I was so confused. I was like, why is everybody like hunched over? Like, what is happening? I was so confused. I will never forget my first yell practice. And I remember like I took a Snapchat video and I was like, y'all, what is this? I was like, I understand why people say it's a cult. I was so confused. But now I'm like, I drank the Kool-Aid.
Oh,
So I get it.
Yeah.
I 100% get it now. And I have to like explain it to people that don't go here. I'm like, it's just something, I just can't explain it to you. You have to be here to get it.
Oh, yeah.
But I will say that was really fun. And have y'all always had the student experience panel, or is this something recently that's new?
This was a recent thing. So we used to do small groups up until
I think last year was the first
year.
year for
Yes,
the panel.
last January.
Yeah. That's when they tried it for the first time. And just because of how many students we get here at Texas A&M, it made a lot more sense for us to do one large group student experience panel as compared to a bunch of small groups of like 30 to 35 students.
Right.
I think it also gives a better chance for everyone to kind of learn from other students' questions.
Yeah.
And instead of having one or two orientation leaders with your small group, to be able to hear from that whole panel and hear how everyone's experience is different. So like, I'm an engineer. My experience is definitely going to be different than someone who's not an engineer.
Yeah.
Or there were some people we had on the panel that were doing different student orgs or involved with different things on campus. So it lets you get kind of a wider view of Texas A&M.
Yeah. And there's no awkward go around the circle, do your howdy intro
Oh, yeah.
during this. Because I remember doing
was
that for the
brutal.
first time and I didn't know what I was doing. But yeah, it's a lot more. It's definitely my favorite part.
Yeah, no, that's really cool, though. I like that. I wish that was something that I would have had at mine. Yeah, no, that's awesome. And like you said, it's like students get to hear from actual students that are going here and doing all the things already. And so I think that would have been nice to have, just to be able to hear from students that are doing the whole thing in real time and just what their experiences like are, because you said everybody's experience is different. Like mine is not going to be the same as yours. You're an engineer. I am a comm major. So our experiences are going to be very different. And so I think it would have been maybe nice to hear the differences, but that's really cool. I love that. That's a really cool opportunity. So another question, will there be a tour of campus?
So AOLs do not give tours, but there is built into the schedule during the morning and the afternoon. We have campus tours put on by Howdy Crew.
Right.
And then also residence hall tours put on by Res Life. So if students want to participate in those, they absolutely can. You just have to go through Visitor Center for those campus tours, as well as Res Life for those residence hall tours. But they do occur during NSCs. It's just not on by us. So.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not about to be walking around campus in 100-degree heat giving a tour. So I'm so sorry, but that's someone else's job.
Yeah.
That's not in our job description.
We'll get them to lunch.
Yeah.
we can get you to the Commons, and
that's about it.
you can get a nice tour from the MSC to the Commons.
Yeah. Another question that I want to ask about student involvement. Will there be opportunities at the NSC for students to figure out what they want to be involved in? Kind of like maybe an MSC open house or just different, I don't know, little groups or activities where they can figure out different orgs on campus.
We don't do anything like that necessarily. We do have the resource tables at the end of the day, which shows off some of the different departments, like the University Police Department, the Sustainability Office, those kinds of things. We just don't have anything specifically geared towards like student
orgs.
orgs.
Yeah.
Most students aren't on campus during the summer. So the best time to get involved with student orgs is probably going to be when they're coming back to campus to start in the fall. There will be Howdy Week, which is like a whole week of activities in the fall. Yes. And that's when a lot of student organizations are going to be at the MSC Club Crawl. They're going to be out bannering in front of the MSC and around the different academic buildings. And so that's really the best time to try and get engaged with student organizations. But new students can always look online on the Get Involved website, I believe, and look at all of the different organizations available, because there's so many.
Oh, there's a ton.
There's over 1,300 now.
Yeah, there's a ton.
I will say that during student experience panels, our AOLs like to plug their orgs or their flows, their sororities, their frats, and all of that. So if new students hear an AOL who is involved in something they want to be involved in, they are more than welcome to talk to them at any point. But we do like to plug those, especially if you're an officer in them.
Yeah. Are y'all involved in any other orgs?
Yeah, I just was elected vice president for the Engineering Honor Society chapter here at A&M.
Oh, wow.
Okay,
So,
slay.
yeah, that's exciting. I'm also involved in the Aerospace Honor Society, and I did another organization actually through the same office as Aggie Orientation Leaders called Aggie Parent and Family Ambassadors. And so during Family Weekend, we helped run some of the events to welcome students' families to A&M. So it's in April each year here at A&M, and students get to show their family what they've been doing all year and what A&M's all about.
Yeah.
Yeah. I am currently not involved because Aggie Orientation Leaders takes up a lot of my time, but I used to be involved in Aggie Sisters for Christ, and I absolutely loved it. It was so much fun.
I was in that my freshman year in college.
I'm also not currently involved as I'm switching my major right now.
Oh, wow.
But I used to be involved in the American Chemist Society and SACNAS. Don't ask me what that stands for. It's very long. But it was a society for Hispanic and Native American students here at A&M.
Wait, awesome. So you're involved in a ton of stuff.
Yes.
I have no idea how you do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's insane. So like y'all said, y'all aren't involved in anything because this takes up a lot of y'all's time. So how can students get involved with AOL?
So our applications open every January, usually the beginning of middle to end of January is applications. Just apply, you'll get an interview. And yeah, it's a lot of fun being an Aggie orientation leader versus an orientation team leader, which is what me and Kelly are. We're the orientation team leaders. Is very different. Aggie orientation leaders focus mainly in the later half of the spring semester, and then summer. We do invite you to come back for January NSCs if you would like that. Yeah, it's a lot of fun little on-campus job. Yeah, if you're interested, follow us on Instagram at AOLTAMU, little plug there.
Yeah.
But yeah, we post on there about like applications and everything and when they open and stuff.
Yeah. So what does the time commitment look like? Because like you said, you're really pouring your time into this organization. So would you recommend that students, if they decide to join, just be involved in this, or is it possible to be involved in other organizations?
As an orientation leader, you can 100% be involved in other organizations. Like Matt here's involved in, I think, 20 other things.
Yeah, in everything that A&M has, basically.
But so yeah, as an orientation leader, you definitely can be involved in as much as you want because it's mostly just a summer commitment. If you choose to go up the ladder and become an orientation team leader, you manage your own time, kind of decide for you if it's like too much or if you can do other things. I started student teaching this semester, so I just knew that I couldn't stay involved in Aggie Sisters for Christ and be an orientation team leader because I just knew myself and I was going to be way too stressed. But if you can do orientation team leading and your 20 other organizations, go for it. All like kudos to you, truly.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, so there's a third team leader. Her name is Courtney. She's involved in Aggie Sisters in Healthcare.
Yes.
So you absolutely can be involved in other organizations and hold this position. It's just, like she said, a matter of managing your time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just going to say, it's definitely about how you want to manage your time and how you're choosing to do that. And so as students are here on campus and they get more time kind of understanding their own schedule and how they work, that's probably a good time for them to decide if Aggie Orientation Leaders is something they'd want to do or if it's something they have time for. So it's definitely like I noticed I had a lot of time and I was wanting to get involved with more things. So this year I really applied to a lot of different organizations and started doing a lot of different things. But I know some people where they have their one org they go to once a week for 1 hour, and that's what works for their schedule. So it definitely just depends on what you're looking for.
Yeah. So do y'all have a favorite memory that might entice someone to join being an ALL?
Oh, I have my favorite.
Go for it.
Go ahead.
Okay, so this is the first NSC of last summer, and I was walking towards Sabisa after having dropped off the veterans at the Veteran Resource Center, and I came across this older man who was just sitting down. It was right outside of Rudder, and he seemed lost. He didn't really look like he knew what he was doing, and so I went up to him. I asked him, "Sir, is there any way I can help you?" And he said, "Yes, please. I don't know where Sabisa is." So I said, "Well, I'm walking that way. Let me take you." And as we're walking, he starts telling me what he's doing there. And he was part of a program. I wish I remembered the name of the program because it's a very good one. But where they help students who come from families where they can't attend students' orientation. So, for instance, the student he was working with, he had a single mother who couldn't speak English and who couldn't get the time off of work to be able to attend her son's NSC. So he went in her place and he gathered the information for her, so that way she could still have it and her son could still attend his NSC. And at the end of it, when we got to Sabisa, he turned and he said, "Thank you so much for taking me here. My name is Kelly. What's yours?" And so I thought he was just playing with me. Older people, they like to mess around a little. So I said, "Okay, very funny. My name is Kelly." And he goes, "Your name is Kelly?" I said, "Yes." We check our name tags, and sure enough, his name was Kelly.
That is so funny.
Kelly and Kelly spelled the exact same way.
Oh my gosh. Wait, that's so sweet though. I didn't know that was a program.
Yeah.
That they had. That's really sweet.
He said it was his first time visiting A&M, but that he had been all over the country.
Oh, wow.
All over the country helping people. So
that's so sweet.
That's very sweet.
Mine's a little more silly. Mine is, we had just left the student experience panel and we were heading to lunch, and I was talking to a group of students and I asked them what their major was, and they were a bunch of engineers. And I was asking them if they knew what they were registering for classes the next day. And one of the students he had made his entire schedule. He had made a few backup schedules.
Oh, wow.
He was telling me
prepped.
about all the math professors. And I was like, "Oh, yeah, I think for Calculus 2, I took Dr. Austin." He was like, "Oh, yeah, she's number 1 on my list." Like, "This is number 1. This is number 2. I'm thinking for chemistry, I'm going to do this one." So it was very surprising to see. Some students come to their NSC and they're like me and they're like, "Wow, this is all really new. Like I made my schedule or like my dream schedule the night before my day 2." And he had his list of possible schedules
That's
ready.
hilarious.
So that was very silly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mine was during a transfer conference. So when all the transfer students come to their new student conferences, during panel, we obviously do our howdy intro and we share some fun facts. My fun facts were that I lived in Haas Hall my freshman year, and then I was in Aggie Sisters for Christ. And so during lunch, this girl came up to me and she's like, "Oh my gosh, I think you're my long lost twin," because I'm also a 3rd generation Aggie. I'm also living in Haas Hall this upcoming semester. I'm also in Aggie Sisters for Christ because Aggie Sisters for Christ takes blend students as well. And then she's also I'm class of 26. She just listed off this list of things that me and her had in common. And it was very interesting and very fun to see that this girl who had a connection with me from panel, looked for me at lunch and found me, and we had talked during lunch. But yeah, so that was one of my favorite memories.
Wait, that's crazy.
I will say I have another one that I thought of. We did check in for the new student conference, and I saw someone walk in with a shirt that had an insurance company from Iowa on the back and the outline of the state of Iowa. And so I spent almost an entire day at lunch one day going through the commons trying to find him.
Stop.
And I was like, so where in Iowa are you from? And I think he was from the Sioux City area, which is the complete opposite side of Iowa from where I'm from. But I was like, you are the first person from Iowa I've ever met. It is like corn, soybeans, like,
Yeah.
you know about Iowa. So it was super cool to see kind of another student from Iowa. Cause I've met other students from Illinois. I've met other students from Minneapolis, but I finally found another student from Iowa.
That's insane. I think what's crazy about college is like, I've met so many new people and they're all from my hometown. And I'm like, so why have I never interacted with you before?
Right?
Like, it's the most like random things, like in classes, like even in my sorority, I'm a Theta. And like, so my big, she has two littles, me and then my twin, her name's Haley. And she's like, yeah, I'm from Beaumont. I'm like, I have never seen you in my life. And it's just crazy because it's like, I don't know. You just meet so many new people. And then I'm like, because whenever I came out of high school, I was like, I'm going to make new friends. Like, they're not going to be from my hometown. Like, I want to get away from my hometown. So I want to make friends from like different places. And they're all from Beaumont. So I'm like, well, okay, that's fine, I guess. Everybody can be from my hometown.
Right.
I feel like even when you're on campus, things like that happen. Like, I'll meet
know.
someone new and it's like, oh, yeah, where'd you live freshman year? Oh, I lived in the same dorm as you.
Yeah, like
live
what?
down the
Wait,
hall.
really? Oh, yeah, I was down the hall on the opposite side. Really? I never met you. Oh.
Yeah.
Like, it's so interesting how A&M's a really big school. Like, A&M is, I think, still the biggest on-campus undergraduate population in the United States.
Yeah.
And somehow everyone I meet, there's always a tie back. I always know their friend or their friend's roommate.
Right.
Like, everyone at A&M really is connected in the community.
Yeah, like how we were in the same org and didn't even know.
I know.
It's
Literally-
giving, like the 6 degrees of separation.
Oh, yeah.
yeah. Yeah, literally. So what is your why for being an orientation leader? And why should students want to be an orientation leader?
So for me, my why was initially coming into the program, it was my mom signed me up for Spikey's email chain. And I decided that I like talking to people, so why not? For becoming an orientation team leader, though, my why ended up becoming that I have always dreamed of working with college students. I want to be a professor one day.
Oh,
That's like my long-term goal. And so through this, I really get to learn how to work with students, how to work with incoming freshmen, how to work with their families, and what all of that entails.
Yeah.
I would say for me, it stemmed more from how connected I felt to A&M. I felt like coming from I showed up and knew no one on my first day.
Yeah.
I came to move in and I'd met my roommate once for an hour at dinner at my NSC. And then I came here and I felt like within a week, I already had friends who were so similar to me and I felt so close to.
Mhm.
And we went to all the football games and basketball games and all of the things that make A&M special. And so I really wanted to kind of give back and share that experience with other students, to especially out-of-state students, to let them know that like it's okay if you're showing up to your first day at Texas A&M, moving into your dorm or moving into your apartment, and you know no one, and you're maybe you're a little scared because this is your first time away from home and you're really doing it on your own. But A&M is a really big community and it's a really big place where people will take care of you. People will be your friend. You just have to kind of really embrace A&M and everything A&M is about, and do the silly yells and go to the football games and do all of the things that make A&M A&M, and A&M will welcome you and you'll have a great time here.
Yeah.
Mine was a little bit happenstance. I was sitting in my math class and I got the Navigate email being like, apply to be an Aggie Orientation Leader. And my friend sitting next to me, she goes, you should really do that. You'd be really good at that. And it like corresponded with my major, you know, the education field and all of that. And then also just being like a third generation Aggie. I came into A&M with like a wealth of knowledge, being like raised in Aggieland. And so like wanting to give that to other students who didn't have that wealth of knowledge and being able to share that with them is something that I really was inspired by. And then becoming an orientation team leader, I genuinely just loved my summer as an orientation leader. And then also AOL taught me that I maybe want to get a master's in higher education instead of being a teacher in elementary school. So it's just something that like showed me what my passions were and that I just love this school so much that I want to show everyone else about it.
Yeah. I think kind of one of our like main slogans for like the podcast is like create your Aggie experience. And kind of like you said, it's really just about going and doing things.
Yeah.
And just really getting out there. And like, for me, that was something I didn't do my freshman year, which don't do that. That's a terrible idea. Please go to everything you possibly can. So like you said, it's like going to the football games, going to the basketball games, going to baseball games, doing everything, going to Howdy Week, especially.
Oh, yeah.
That was a big one for me, yes.
Yeah, go to as many events as you can in Howdy Week. Just going and doing all the things. And like, the best piece of advice I feel like I can give a transfer student or even a freshman is like, don't stay locked up in your room. That is what I did. And I'm an only child. So leaving home was really hard because, you know, it's just like me and my parents. And so I wasn't used to like being away from them. And then I also did random roommates. So it was like, I had never met any of them in person. So I was like freaking out. But then I stayed locked up in like my room. And then I just sat there and I was just nervous. So like the best piece of advice I can give is just go out and do things like you said. And like, that's really how you make your Aggie experience is by going out and just trying all the things. Like go to Midnight Yell.
Oh, absolutely.
Like I don't even know if I went to a Midnight Yell my freshman year. Like that's low-key kind of pathetic. I was kind of a 2%er. Sorry, guys. But like go to Midnight Yell, go to all the things. So yeah. So last question. What is some advice that you have for students just wanting to get involved on campus in general?
Do everything. Everything you have the opportunity to do it, please. That is going to be the best way you can get involved in things on campus.
I would say my advice is similar. It's to kind of be brave and say yes and take that next step. And when someone knocks on your door and asks if you want to go to the dining hall or if you want to go to Midnight Yell with a group of people from your dorm, like even if it's not something that's your favorite thing ever, say yes and kind of take that big step. And you never know, some of those people might be your best friends and they might get you involved in some of the orgs that you end up loving throughout your time here at A&M.
Try and take a step out of your comfort zone. Say hi to the person next to you in class because I promise you're going to need them at some point. Go to club crawl, go to Howdy Week, do all the things and just find where you fit. Is kind of my advice. Just find where you belong because there is a place where you belong here, I promise.
Yeah, that was really great advice. Thank y'all so much for coming on.
Thank you.
Thank you
and taking time out of y'all's day to come and yap with me on the
I'd
couch.
love to yap. I'll yap anytime.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. And this is the last episode of season 1. So it's been so fun being the host. And thank you so much for watching our podcast. It's been so much fun to make and share our advice with you guys. And for more information on how you can get involved with Division of Student Affairs, go to text.ag/create-your-Aggie-experience. And you can find all of our episodes on YouTube or your favorite podcast streaming service. Thanks and gig 'em.